Hello and welcome back in our 6th edition of The Edge. I'm Kyle Swartz.
And I'm Bethany Urbanek.
In this edition of The Edge, we look into the nationwide staff shortages and new paras.
Plus, we say goodbye to one of EdTech's favorite teachers and more. Stay tuned.
In the aftermath of the COVID-19 pandemic, millions of workers all over the country have quit their jobs, and the effects have been staggering. The Edge's Grace Belisle has the details.
The national staffing shortage, also known as the Great Resignation, is raging throughout the country right now. Since the pandemic, 47 million workers have quit their jobs. The problem is that these people are being rehired somewhere else, and those empty positions they left are now staying unfilled. Businesses and schools around the country are struggling and having to cut back and get creative to make it work. Since the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic, schools were one of the most impacted workplaces with some of the highest numbers of people quitting. As a result, schools had to create new ways to keep staff.
So what we had to do was increase the pay scale. We have 38 to 40 instructional aides in Armada, and we were able to work with them and increase their pay scale and retain a lot of employees that way.
Leisure and hospitality businesses were the most impacted. Nearly 5.5% of the workers left the industry completely. That's 83,000 employees as of this past July.
It's made for difficult times, just not having enough people. So we were probably 50% of what we should have.
It's not the only industry that is struggling. In hospitals, it's not an option to close down. So nurses and doctors are being asked to do more.
So as an employee, we're affected by the shortage in multiple ways. So we can get mandated, which means that instead of working 12-hour shifts, you can get mandated to work an extra 4 hours. So that puts you at 16 hours in one shift, which leads to you being more tired, and you could make more mistakes in your patient care that way.
Some workplaces had a more severe outcome than others, but all had their losses.
At the elementary school, we were averaging 25 to 30 students per class. During the pandemic, we reduced that significantly. Currently, the average class size in Armada at the elementary school is 22, so we had to hire additional staff for that.
Stress on me as a business owner, stress on the employees that are still here, trying to do the same level of service with half the people, trying to produce the same amount of business with half the people.
With the increased number of vaccinations and medications available to treat COVID-19, many places have reopened their doors and have been able to hire more workers.
I feel like a lot of people are headed back into the workforce at this point.
Others haven't been as lucky.
So on my unit, since I have been there in the last 3 years, over the last year specifically, we have lost over 10 staff members to go elsewhere just because of the lack of incentives.
Currently, there are 10 million open positions with only 6 million people unemployed. Historically, there has been tension between employers and their workers. Since the pandemic, there has been a change in dynamics between them and is still working itself out. We will follow this as time goes on. Reporting for The Edge, I'm Grace Belisle.
Despite these shortage setbacks, there are still those eager to fill up job positions. Like many businesses, finding the right person for the job is challenging, especially when potential employees have a lot of options. So it is welcome news to the students and staff at EdTech as they finally were able to fill the last 2 paraprofessional jobs at the center. Ms. Plonky was hired as a new paraprofessional in diesel technology. She replaced Mr. Drake, who retired at the end of last year. She comes to EdTech after working as a rehabilitation assistant at Macomb Hospital. In public safety, Sergeant Connell is returning home in a way.
Love EdTech. I attended EdTech back in 2012 when I graduated, so I'm familiar with everything that goes on here, so everything works out good when the students do what they're supposed to and keep up on their schoolwork.
Sergeant Connell is also a firefighter for the city of Lapeer. He has been with the department for 12 years.
Speaking of jobs, the EdTech principal and head of maintenance found themselves in a new position on November 15th. A day many traditionally hunt deer, they were catching birds. A small bird found its way into the EdTech lobby. Mr. Nature and Mr. Hurley spent the afternoon trying to corner the bird. And when they thought they cornered the bird had other ideas. Eventually, they were able to catch the bird and release it into the great outdoors. Mrs. Hyatt started at EdTech in the 1990s. In her 32 years of working at the EdTech Center, Mrs. Hyatt has made a huge impact on the Ag Science program, FFA, and the school.
Our Daniel Guthrie takes a look at her career here at EdTech.
Benjamin Franklin said, "Tell me and I forget. Teach me and I remember. Involve me and I learn." That is what Ms. Hyatt has been doing here at EdTech for 32 years.
November 30th, Ms. Hyatt will walk through the doors for the last time as a teacher in the agri-science classroom. But even though she is retiring, her impact on the students and staff here at EdTech will remain.
I love Miss Hyatt's personality. She is always outgoing. She always pushes everyone to their best ability.
She impacted my life by she pushes me, so I feel like I am a lot better than what I used to be. I'm more confident in doing certain stuff. And I'm just a better worker in general. I work with people a lot better than what I used to. She has helped me a lot.
Ms. Hyatt works hard to help her students succeed.
Mrs. Hyatt's impact is it's astronomical. I mean, there's a host of things that she has done for her students alone. I mean, it's just amazing the work and effort that she's put into her job to help her students, whether that's with their homework here, homework from their local school. It could be things going on at home. She has done just a massive amount of things for the students, but she does deeply care for her staff, and she wants to make sure that everything's running like a well-oiled machine so that we can succeed as well and help our students. And she just wants to make sure that everyone's taken care of. She does have a really big heart.
It's not only the staff who worked in agri-science that will miss her, but she's made an impact on her other coworkers as well.
I would miss the most about not having Miss Hyatt here is her smile every day, her commitment to students every day.
I will definitely miss you, Mrs. Hyatt. Definitely miss you, Tammy. Gosh, I first started here, like I said, 19 years ago, so she's been a part of my life for 19 years, so it's sad to see her go, but super exciting to see her go out and do new things.
We'll miss the camaraderie, and I will miss her stories of delivering babies. That is what I will miss. Animal babies.
But there is one person who might arguably miss her the most. Ms. Thompson has worked with Ms. Hyatt since the beginning, and it will be a big change for them not to be working side by side every day.
Like I said, I'm so excited for her new journey that she's going on. I'm glad she's going to be able to spend time with her family. That's so important, just as important to me. And I'm so excited she's got grandkids now and her mom and dad and the rest of her family to spend more time with. And I'm anxious to see where her new journey takes her. I know she'll be back. We'll get to see her. You know, she'll stop in and check on us, and I'm sure she'll be involved in alumni. But I'm, like I said, excited to see where she goes. We'll always be thinking about her here, always, because she has always been a big part of this program. But I wish her all the best and all the happiness. And she always knows where to find us. And I'm just a phone call away.
We wish Ms. Hyatt the best of luck as she heads into retirement. Reporting for The Edge, I'm Daniel Guthrie.
We at The Edge and the entire EdTech staff thank Mrs. Hyatt for her 32 years of service to our community and school.
32 years. I can't even imagine being somewhere for more than 17 years.
Well, that would be difficult since you're only 17 years old.
Well, that concludes this edition of The Edge.
Make sure to follow us on our Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at The Edge LC. I'm Bethany Urbanek.
And I'm Kyle Swartz, signing off.